Hello, party people. What's going on? I felt like this week just flew by. This was like the fastest week of my life. I don't know if it's the weather or what, but here we are again so quickly.
Feels like Southern California finally. That's why.
It does.
Feels great. It's beautiful.
One of the best places in the world to live. Loving it. So listen, we have got such a fun guest this week. I'm so excited. We all watched the show. It was one of the number one shows ever of all time. He's so iconic. I was neighbors with him for many, many years. I'm not even sure if he knows that or not. And I was lucky enough. We were doing a autograph convention, and we got to have dinner. And somehow this guy is in tune with the Fountain of Youth because he looks exactly the same. I am super jealous. But let's introduce Erik Estrada, everyone.
Hey.
Hello.
Hi, everybody. Hi.
The interrogation. The interrogation begins.
Key light. Hey, listen, Nicole.
Yeah.
You're still stunningly beautiful.
Thank you.
No,
Thank you.
The hair, the no hair, you could do or without it. You're fine. You're gorgeous.
Thank you so much. You know, the irony.
Him not so much.
Nah.
Dave, yeah. That's why he wears that hat all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, no, listen, I weirdly don't hate being bald. I don't hate it. I don't know.
I hear
Maybe
you. Now me, I put this on every morning, and oh my God, it's such a trip. You like that trick?
That was cool.
You still got a lot of hair, huh?
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
I love that trick, though. I started the rumor that I'm bald in California 33 years ago. I did a David Letterman show thing, and the young intern came up to get me in my dressing room, knocks on the door. It says, Mr. Estrada, they're ready for you downstairs for a rehearsal, because we were doing it out of focus celebrity kind of a thing. And I said, okay, I'll be right down, but wait a minute. So I go like this. I pretend I'm getting underneath it. Then I press my skin, and then I go like that. And then the kid's looking at me. When I turned, he looked down. So I walked out, went downstairs, did the rehearsal, that never said anything. 4 or 5 years later, they call my manager, and David Letterman is doing a segment where he's going to have Burt Reynolds, Bruce Willis, Mel Gibson, and he wants Erik Estrada to come on. And will Erik take it off on the air? And my manager goes, take what off? No, his hair. He says, oh man, did he get you with that trick? He got somebody there with that trick. It just so happens that the kid that was the intern there now is a writer for the show. And he wrote a segment because he saw me do this thing. And he thought, wow, let's do a segment where the celebrities that don't have hair and some that do have hair be on, and will they take it off? Is it or isn't it? Was the name of the segment. We never did it, of course, because
it doesn't come off.
Yeah.
That's so funny how it stuck with him. He did not forget that. That is very funny. Well, that was always a thing back in the day, right? Like which men wore toupees and which didn't. It was, yeah.
Yeah, they still do.
Sure. And why not? I mean, whatever, women wear wigs, and yeah. So who cares? Who cares about any of that? But so okay, we all grew up watching the show. Do you ever get sick of talking about Chips, or is it like something that you just love so much that you can talk about it all day? Like, how is that?
Well, I would never be sick of Punch, never be sick of the uniform, never be sick of the institution and what it means. And look, from the age of 4 to 17, I wanted to be a New York City police officer.
Oh.
Okay. I grew up in 103rd and First Avenue, Spanish Harlem, born in Harlem Hospital, raised in New Manhattan, New York. And when I was 4, my mother fired my dad because he was stuck on the needle, you know?
Oh.
So she said, hey, get out of here. So, and then she started dating a cop. And that's where my love for law enforcement came from. I've only loved 2 men in my life. My grandfather, who taught me work ethics, used to take me with him when we used to sell snow cones in the streets of Harlem and Spanish Harlem. And he built my first shoebox. I shined shoes at Columbus Circle when I was 11, 12, and 13 every weekend. And so he taught me how to, to go. There's a nickel to be made. You can do it. So just get up and go. And so so from the age of 4 to 17, I was going to be a New York City police officer. That's what I wanted. That was it. That's what I was going to do. That's what I wanted to be. At 17 years old, there was a pretty blonde, just like you, in high school. And I said, wow, she's so fine. I gotta meet her. I'm going to wait after school, after a period, when she comes out. Maybe I could walk to the train, the bus, whatever, maybe through Central Park, whatever, through the bushes and through the woods, So it turns out she wouldn't come out of the building the first day. And I said, I know, I saw her. I said, I'll wait tomorrow again. I waited the second day. I said, I know I saw her. Tomorrow I'm going to follow her after 8th period. I'm going to give her a follow, see what she's doing, where she's going. She's not coming out of school. She was going to drama club.
Oh.
So I said, tell you what, I grew up in the streets of Spanish Harlem. I can act. I can do that. Let me audition, get in, and grab the girl. Well, I auditioned, I got in, and I got bit by the acting bug. And that was all she wrote. And I said, oh my God, I was in a great place of finding something that really grabbed me by the heart, by the mind, just by everything, was performing. And then what was the bad part about it was I had to go tell my mother, Ma, you got to live in the projects a little longer. I can't get you out. I say, ay, no, mijo, no, por favor, mijo, tú ibas a ser policía. Yo quiero que tú seas policía. No puede ser eso. I say, Ma, I got to give it a shot. I really dig it. I really like the feeling I get when I'm out there. People come up to me and they say, oh, you were great in this little thing and that. And I understood where they were coming from and what they enjoyed. And they felt what they felt. But nobody felt what I felt while I was doing it. And I want more of that. So anyway, I went through this whole thing with my mother. She cried for like 2 weeks. After a while, I said, look, Ma, I'll make a deal with you. If I can't make any money in this acting thing, I can come back to New York, be eligible to go to Albany Police Academy, because 32 is the cutoff date for eligibility to be an applicant. And mijo, no, mijo. I said, Ma, I want you to live better than this. I want you to be my queen. I want to put you in Central Park South, overlooking the Tavern on the Green, overlooking the park. I want you to have a doorman. I want you to have a pool in the building, but I know you'll never use it. But all this and all that. I know, mijo, no. She kept on. So now here I was, graduating high school. My teacher, drama teacher, Rita Broadley, says, hey, what college you going to go to? I says, I'm not going to go to college. Why not? I said, I want to be an actor. I'm going to go chase it. She says, you should have something to fall back on. I said, I don't want anything to fall back on. I want to be an actor. I want to go for it. So in her 35 years of teaching drama, a British teacher, she said, okay, I've only told 2 other students in my teaching career that go ahead, chase it. One of them is married, the other one's selling cars. I'm going to tell you, go chase it. I said, yeah, I'm going to chase it no matter what you say. Go after it. And, well, I went after it. and then I realized, oh my God. So I got into movies. I would approach location managers that came to New York back in the late 60s, early 70s to do movies that came from California, like Cactus Flower with Goldie Hawn, and the other guy of The Odd Couple. God, what's his name? Not Jack, the other one. Come on.
Randall. Tony Randall.
Yes.
No, not Tony Randall. He wasn't in that. It was the other guy, the grumpy guy in The Odd Couple.
Yes.
Jack Klugman.
No, not Jack Klugman.
So I thought it was only Tony Randall and Jack Klugman. Who am I blowing?
The guy's face is right here, but I can't get his name. Walter Matthau.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Walter Matthau.
Gotcha.
Yes.
I thought you were going TV version. Sorry.
So I worked on that like 4 or 5 days. I got as an extra. I got $27.15 a day as an extra. And then when we finish at 2 or 3 in the morning, I'd run across town to another set. The Other Towners was filming also. That was for Cactus Flower. Then I run across town to Grand Central Station to be like a traveler with a suitcase. They give me an empty suitcase to walk back and forth. In Out of Towners with Jack Lemmon, Sandy Dennis. And then from there, I went on to John and Mary, where they had a big crowd yelling and screaming. So the extras casting director, Marty Richards, says to me, hey, yell, scream, protest. And we're picking out people to Taft-Hartley for the SAG card. And that's how I got my SAG card, was on John and Mary. But I was making $27.15 a day chasing these movies. And my mother was coming in the mail, and my nickname was Papo. That was my street name. Hey, Papo, come here. That was my street. They say gang name, but no, street name.
Papo.
Oh, yeah, Papo, P-A-P-O.
So
all these envelopes are coming in, because I'm working constantly. I'm jumping from one set to another. I don't care. I just keep the landlord, with my buddy who just passed away last week, 2 weeks ago. The Landlord was great with Marky Bay and Jeff Bridges. Back in the day, I worked that. But I would approach location managers and I would say to them, hey, I want to be an extra in your thing. And they would, like, hey, who is this street urchin? And then I would say, look, what are you going to do if you're shooting on the street and there's a bunch of people making noise, a bunch of guys that are stoned, jacked up, and they're telling you to go, eat shit and die. We live here. The cops ain't going to do squat. You hire me, you pay me what you pay these people that walk around, extras, I call them. You pay me that, and I'll take care of you. I'll take care of things so that you can get your shot. You can get your thing, And so that worked. And every time a production came to town, they would say, "Get that Estrada kid," because then I hire a couple of guys, give them $5. Hey, take that guy around the block while we get this shot.
You're like the mob boss. It's like the mob boss of Atmosphere.
Yeah, of the ghetto, the mob boss of the ghetto. So anyway, I did that, and then a movie came along. My first movie came along that I had to audition for. Don Murray, the director, who was in Hoodlum Priests, and then he did Bus Stop with Marilyn Monroe.
Wow.
And Don Murray did a Christian film where he played a priest, and in the Christian way, their way is that once you get tapped by Christ on the shoulder and he taps you, you pay it forward. So he seeked this movie called The Cross and the Switchblade, a true story a book was written by Reverend David Wilkerson out of Phillipsburg, Pennsylvania, who was in his barn reading about the daily news and the street gangs in New York. See, the gangs in New York were different. We were different. They were different. Not we, they were different. Because back then you fought with your fists. If you had a stick, my favorite weapon, I saw it. My favorite weapon is you go by a car and you take the antenna and you smash. You just go like this and it snaps off and you open it up and man, you could swing. You can have a good time swinging and knocking people out. It was great. And I mean, I saw that. Anyway, where was I? Okay. So
Uh-huh.
he reads in the Daily News that Brooklyn, the Mau Mau's, back in the late 50s, early mid late 50s, mid 60s, was a gang called the Mau Mau's in New York City. The baddest ass gang ever. I mean, really get you down, put you down, keep you down, put you out. The warlord of that gang, every gang had a warlord. The warlord would be the guy that says, okay, we're going to fight. We're going to fight with this, just like in the original West Side. As a matter of fact, when I was 13, I watched him shoot the original West Side Story down my street.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a trip. It was,
Oh.
all these tough guys, and then all of a sudden they start doing this and this.
Dancing.
And I went, whoa,
Yes.
what gang is that? So, anyway, so he read in the newspaper. The warlord is the guy that decides where you're going to fight, what you're going to fight with, and when. His name was Nicky Cruz, who was a Puerto Rican kid, went back in Puerto Rico. When his father wanted to punish him, his father would stick him in the kitchen and in the chicken coop overnight.
Oh.
Now, chicken coop, man, when they stir, they just go all over. Anyway, so the motto of the Mamas was to draw blood in a fight. Nicky Cruz was so bad. So he was in his barn, he reads the paper, and he said that the Lord talked to him and said, go to New York and help these kids. And he did. He came to New York. He sought out the meanest, baddest gang, and the warlord was a kid named Nicky Cruz. Well, I auditioned for that role, 6 improvisation callbacks.
Oh,
all of them. And then when they finally got down to the last 2 people, which was me and the kid that was up the down staircase, his name, I don't know his name, but he was a really good looking, tall Italian guy, stunning, great leather coat, with Sandy Dennis, the Up the Down Staircase movie. And I was up against him, and I didn't have anything but spit. So on my last callback, which I knew they were bringing in Pat Boone to play the Reverend, the movie's called The Cross and the Switchblade, and I was auditioning for the role of the Switchblade, Nicky Cruz. So I went to 42nd Street, and I bought a switchblade over the counter. And I brought it to the audition, but I had it in my back pocket, and nobody knew I had a switchblade. You don't bring a real knife to an audition.
Right.
But I figured I needed an edge. I needed something, because all I had was spit, and this guy already had a movie. I needed something to get me over the fence, or at least climb on it. So in the audition, I get up there, and Don Murray says, okay, this kid's on stage, other actors from Juilliard and all these fine dramatic schools, all right? And me from 103rd and 1st Spanish Army, the school of street. I go up and I'm really raw. I mean, I'm raw, the F-bomb kept coming out, and a bunch of other Latin stuff kept coming out. So he says, okay, this is your family. Go up on the stage, and then there'll be a knock at the door, and we'll continue from there. So I said, okay. So I got the blade in my back pocket. I go up the stage. There's a long table, bunch of kids sitting here and here talking. A lot of them, some of them were from Juilliard. Some of them were from that drama school on 60th Street between Amsterdam and Columbus by St. Paul the Apostle School. Artistic, very artsy, craftsy kids. And I get up there and I go, okay, everybody, listen up. Nobody's looking. They're not listening. So I start FMing and dropping the F-bomb to get their attention. And I realized that's not cool. I can't go there, because then they're going to just throw me out the window. So I said, okay, listen up. This is what we're going to do. I want to go to the movies, and then I want to get pizza after the movie. But at the movies, I want to get candy, Coca-Colas, chocolate, all kind of popcorn. So we're going to go to my piggy banks. And one kid looks at me and he goes, Piggy banks? Like, I said, yeah, my piggy banks. Where where I keep my change. Parking meters and telephone booths. Because then it was easy. You just go. It was easy back then. I mean, stuff was really easy. And not that I saw that. I didn't do it.
Right, of course.
Saw that stuff. So I said, because I want to go to movies and this and that. And then there's a knock at the door. I said, you go get the door. Go get the door. So he got the door, opened the door, and you open the door, and Pat Boone is standing in the doorway. Okay. And he says, is Nicky here? I have a message for him. So I lean over and I just look. I give him the once over. And just look at him. Nothing. Then he says it again. He says, I came here to see Nicky. I'm looking for Nicky. I have a message for him. So the kid looks at me and I look back. I get up and I take to get everybody's attention out there, the casting director, the producers, all the clowns that sit up and judge you. So I grab the chair and I throw it across the stage. I mean, you got a chair being thrown across the stage. That's going to get somebody's attention. And they're going to be, boom, right on me. So I get up and I just sling it. And I walk over to Pat Boone. And he's right here in the doorway, okay? He's right there in the doorway. And he looks at me and he goes, are you Nicky? And I don't say anything. I just look at him and I wolf him. It's this thing we used to do in the street where you wolf a guy. You just get up in his face. I mean, you literally urinate on him, visually. Okay. That's called wolfing before you fight, before you're going to throw down. And he says, are you Nicky? And I just don't answer him. I just stare him right in the eye. And he says, he's here. And he says, I have a message for you. He says, Jesus loves you. He says to me, Jesus loves you. And I, of course, not going to say anything. So I start gripping see this here? I start going like this. Trying to make the muscles go boom, 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 boom. Like you're pissed off,
Yeah.
And then I grab him by the lapels of his blazer and by the lapels. And I push him up against the wall. Right? So I got him up. I put him in, push him up against the wall, put my hand on his chest, flush him to the wall. And I take the switchblade out and it's.
Oh, shit.
In the back of the room, Don Murray says, stop, end of scene, stop, scene over, stop. But it got me the part.
Nice.
I got the part. That was my first part. So that's how so I was making $800 a week for 8 weeks to shoot this movie all over New York City. My mother was like, oh, I moved her to Regal Park, Queens. I took the Puerto Rican and stuck her in a Jewish neighborhood. And she was like, hi, Papo, these people. Ma, for now, this is where you're going to live. We're going to do better. But I want to get you out of the city. So I got her out of the city. So, and then I do the movie. I go back to working at Yellow Fingers on 60th Street and 3rd Avenue across from Bloomingdale's. There's a restaurant called Yellow Fingers. I was a waiter there. That's how I paid for my American. I went to AMDA and to get some culture and some training. And I went to a Philip Burton school called AMDA, American Musical Dramatic Academy. They got one here in California now. So I went there. At the same time, I couldn't go back to doing extra work because I already did a co-starring role. I played the role of Nikki. Nikki today, who received Christ by this preacher from Phillipsburg, Pennsylvania, who eventually had one of the Broadway theaters as his his
Oh yeah, it's ministry.
Ministry. Yeah. And he just passed a couple of years ago. And he also started Teen Challenge. That took young people from environments and helped them out.
Nice.
Yeah. And so, but Nikki got tapped, and he's bringing more people to Christ as we speak. Still doing it.
Wow.
Yeah, still doing it. So I figured, the man tapped me to be in this movie, but he let me run off and play in the 70s and 80s and go to Studio 54. Shh. And hang out with Rick James. Shh. Don't tell anybody.
I mean.
Anyway, that was my first movie. And then I had to go back to being a waiter. And then, of course, to keep my chops up, I would get into various workshops in New York with very good guys that ran workshops, like Melvin Nelson. He had a musical comedy workshop that I took, and it was great. And a lot of the soap opera stars from back then were going to that workshop. I met them all, Theo and Maggie, and it was great. Anyway, so I just kept going up for stuff. And then a movie came to town called The New Centurions, Joseph Wambach's book. He wrote Onion Field and all that. And I ran out and read the book, and I said, oh man, I can play this role with my hands tied behind my back. The role of the Chicano cop, young Chicano rookie cop called Sergio Duran. He was the lead in the book and everything. So I go up and I meet Charloff and Winkler, the producers who did Rocky and a bunch of other stuff. And I read for them. They said, very good. Tomorrow, the director, Richard Fleischer's flying in. You come back, you read with him, you read for him, he'll meet you. So I did that the next day. So a week goes by, 2 weeks go by, 2.5 weeks go by. I call the agent. I said, what's going on with this thing? What's going on with this part? I said, that part is mine. I know it's mine. I can do it. It's me. Perfect. Yeah. They said, well, they went back to Los Angeles. They're casting the role of Kovinsky. In the book, Kovinsky is about this big. He's a cop who committed suicide for whatever reasons, right? Depression or whatever. I said, okay, so what does that mean to me? He says, well, they're talking to George C. Scott, who just turned the Oscar down for Patton. You remember when he did that?
Yeah.
Which was like, whoa, I can't believe he turned down the Oscar. Anyway, he wouldn't take it. He didn't believe that actors should be categorized. We're all actors. We're all. If you like what we did, that means we were good in doing what the mission was as an actor. So I said, oh man, what about the role of Sergio? And he said, hey, it's still not cast. I said, okay, listen, I'll tell you what we're going to do here. If I can get to California, I'll take a red eye, get there 3, 4 in the morning, whatever time it is, TWA back in the day, or Pan Am. I go way back. and you got to get me in the office that morning because I don't have, I can't stay in a hotel. I got to go and walk in, meet them again, and walk out. So he said, okay, yeah, we have Jack Fields and Associates over on Sunset. Jack Fields, so if an actor went to New York, they would handle the actor for, they split the commission when the guy gets bi-coastal, and agents do that. Yeah. So they got me in, and I walk in, and there's Fleischer and Charloff and Winkler saying, hey, you guys left New York without giving me my part. What's the matter with you guys? You make me come all the way out here. I don't have money to go to a hotel. I got to fly back out today. So make up your mind. Am I going to do the role or not? And they gave me a look like, who is this? Who is this street urchin? This rug rat. And they gave me the part. So now since they didn't fly me out, I had to, they didn't have to pay per diem me or any of that stuff. I had to get my own house and everything, but it was $1,000 a week for 11 weeks. I lived out here in California, in North Hollywood, and and it was great working with George C. Scott, Stacy Keach, Rosalind Cash, just the cast, Scott Wilson, all these people. It was great. And it was my second movie co-starring role, man.
Unbelievable. And as a cop.
And as a cop.
Yeah.
So the thing ends, and I have to return the car I was driving. I leased a Cadillac, smoking. And, and then I went back to New York, and then I went back to work at the restaurant, Yellowfingers. It's still there in the corner of 2nd Avenue, and it goes north. That's 3rd Avenue and 60th Street. And then down the street is Serendipity. Across the street is Bloomingdale's.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And I went back to work there. And then, of course, I'd go back to a workshop. Now, in about 5 months after that, the movies are being edited and put together for distribution and all that. And I should have been in California, but I'm still living in New York. I get offered a Hawaii Five-0 to play Simon Oakland, the actor, to play his racketeer son. I said, I don't care what it is. Hawaii from Harlem. Bite me. Let's go.
Yeah.
So I go to Hawaii for 9 days. I kill it at the Kahala Hilton. What a great time I had there.
I bet.
And then I got to meet Jack Lord, who always had the attitude that it was his island.
Sure.
And something happened on that set that just blew my mind, and I'd never seen it before. We're shooting on the sand on the beach. The lights are up, the chairs are there. Boom, boom, boom. The wind's starting to blow a little bit. So I'm sitting there. I got a scene with McGarrett, Jack Lord, and a grip truck is rolling onto the sand, coming real close to the cameras and where we're here, and the truck's over here, and it stops. And first of all, for me, it's weird to see a truck on the beach. I come out of Spanish Harlem. There's no beaches over there, okay?
Yeah.
The first time I went to the beach was when my mom started dating this cop, Pete Panos, the cop. He worked CSI. So I used to go through his briefcase and stuff, and just fascinating. I'd see eyeballs hanging out, cut throats, just knives and heads. I loved it. And I said, I want to catch the guy that did this. I want to catch the person. I was so into it. And he took us to the beach for the first time, and it was really Jones Beach, New York. Anyway, so this truck pulls on the sand, and I'm watching. I'm going, wow, what a trip. I've never seen a truck on the big sand. So I was just fascinated by it, and I'm looking at it. Then Garrett comes out of the motorhome, which was nearby, and they brought the truck out so it would block the wind, so his hair would stay in place. I said, oh my God, I want that kind of power. So I did the Hawaii Five-0, then went back to New York, back to my routine. The 2 movies hit Broadway, 42nd Street, 7th Avenue and Broadway. The 2 movies hit the street. The Cross and Switchblades playing over here. New Centurions playing over here. And I take my mother to see them both in one night. And she goes, ay, papo, ay, papo. I had her. I was in.
Yeah.
But they called me to come to LA to dub the studio at Radford over here to loop the Hawaii Five-0 because of ambient noise and stuff
Sure, the beach.
So I told and they flew you first class then, and they still do if you're guesting on any show. That's the SAG thing. I told my mother, Ma, I'm going to cash in my return ticket and I'm going to stay because these movies were out on the street and I'm here in New York working as a waiter when I should have been in California where I could walk anybody's office, didn't have to audition, just tell them, hey, you want me? I'm good for your part because I got these two movies, a bad guy and a good guy. So, but no, I was out in New York. So I'm going to cash in my return ticket. Ay, mijo. I said, Ma, I got to do it because I want you to live like a queen. I want you to live like goddess. I'm going to take care of you. So I moved out and I moved to Colfax and Burbank Boulevard. It's called Club California. It's still there. Jerry Brown owned it. That's where he had his romance with Linda Ronstadt, if you want a little gossip.
Oh, okay. Well, see. Colfax and Burbank. That's like, I live right not too far from there. That's so funny. Yeah.
Yeah, that's called Club California. But I was paying $155 a month. I had a parking spot. We had a pool. We had a gym. We had a barbecue. We had jacuzzi. And we had all the females you could talk with. This guy talked to all of them. Great times. Great times.
$155 a month.
Yeah, could you? Yeah, and the room was just a studio, and it was as big as my den right now. And I lived there for 3 years, and I didn't get a job in acting, and I already had a guest spot on Hawaii Five-0. I had to start all over. So what I did was I got a job working at Enterprise Auto Leasing, where I would detail cars and deliver them to Michael. They all drove Rolls Royces. That's why I got hooked on the car, and then I ended up with Ford down the road. When I became Flavor of the Month, I had the bread,
Yeah.
I delivered them to Diana Ross, Richard Pryor, Michael Landon, Tony Savalas. They all had Rolls Royces, and I'd have to deliver them, and I got hooked on the car. You don't drive that car because it's a Rolls Royce, or you drive that car because of the way it makes you feel. It's like taking your favorite armchair or your lazy boy down the street. It is such a great ride and such a rush. But I would end up going to Home Depot, loading the back seat with plants and 2x4s or whatever I needed, whatever I was building for my property. Yeah, I didn't get it. It was a car, but I liked the ride. I got hooked anyway. So I move out and I get a job at Enterprise Auto Leasing. They were on La Brea. Then it turned into Famous Amos at Cookies on La Brea.
Yeah, I remember that place.
That used to be where I worked, but it was Enterprise Auto Leasing, not the big chain today. It was an independent. Irv Fox used to run it, and he hired me because I didn't have a car. And he'd let me take a car to an audition if I needed it. And then I worked Friday and Saturday nights at the Red Chariot. It was a bar. Right now it's a Starbucks, but it was a bar on the corner of Van Nuys, 1 block east of Van Nuys on Burbank Boulevard across from Ralph's. It's a Starbucks. It's called the Red Chariot. I call it the Red Toilet when I worked, okay? Because it was a biker joint. And I'm standing there with my Pierre Cardin and my Gabardine and penny loafers at the door. Worked the door Friday and Saturdays because who had money for dates? But I always got breakfast Sunday morning. It was great. Last call.
Cheap dates.
So and then, yeah, right.
Yeah.
So and then I started going up on Mark Harris, who worked for Jack Fields and Associate, sent me out on calls, and then I got me a 1-day silent. Well, it wasn't a silent bit. It was an emergency. Granted, I came off 2 movies, co-starring roles. Those 2 movies got me eligible to be an Academy member, and I vote on the Oscars every year since then. And because to qualify to be an Academy member, if you're an actor, you got to get 2 signatures from 2 people that are already members from that branch. And you got to have been in 2 starring or co-starring roles. And I had that right off the bat. So I got in real quick, get all the free movies, and feel like a big shot going to the studio. My date with my wife, I said, hey, I watched her. We met on the Stairmaster. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, man, she was awesome. I'd watch her for like 2 months on the Stairmaster, hair down to her knees. She used to be a ballerina, and one day I said, hey, the screening movies at Warner Brothers, because we would work out here and Take 20. It was Take 20, and then it was something else. And I said, what about, would you like to go to dinner and a movie with me? I got to vote. I got to go see movies so I can give a vote for the Oscars. She said, I said, consider me gay. I said to her, I just want companionship. To go to see a movie, have dinner, talk about the movie. He says, okay, let's go. So I pick her up a few days before, and we're going to go to Warner Brothers, see a movie. But first we're going to go to an Italian kitchen somewhere on Alameda. And we went there. We never got out of the restaurant. We just sat there for 5 hours, laughing and having a great time. We never saw the movie. Then I took her home, and, what happened was I saw her work out. I used to get there and get on the Stairmaster and do my 40 minutes or whatever at my level. And she'd be there when I got there. And when I left, she'd still be on it. I go, damn. But one day she got off of it and went over to the mat to stretch. And she put her leg up in Oregon, the other one in Mississippi. And I went, damn. And we're married almost 30, together 33 years, but married like 28.
I love that.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm sorry. I'm doing all the talking here.
No,
that's what we're here for.
Yeah, we want to hear it.
Okay. So there we go. I do my first gig in California, living in a room like this. Remember, the room had one window, a little air conditioner, half a refrigerator, 2 electric burners for a stove, and a little sink, a little sink. But I ran to Pier 1 Imports, got tapestry, made a shell ceiling out of it. I built like a tent, like if you were in Saudi Arabia and you walked into a tent after struggling with a camel in the desert, getting inside. Yeah. So I fixed it up that way. Cute. It's cute. I had a closet and a bathroom, and it was really cute. And I lived there for 3 years. So my first gig is emergency, right? And here's my line. I only have one line. I'm being carried out by the 2 leads of the show, and I'm on a gurney. My line is, ah, ah. I got burned. I got burned. I got fried. And that was my first line. And then from there, I went on to do Owen Marshall with Lee Majors. Remember Lee Majors and E.G. Marshall? Was it E.G. Marshall? Owen Marshall was the name of the show. He was a lawyer with $6 Million Man. Lee Majors was a lawyer. So I did an episode of that. Of course, stereotypical, the villain. Okay? And then I did a Beretta. And then I did a Mannix. Then I did a Joe Forrester. Then I was getting top of the show, guest star, TV guide billing, and all that good stuff, And
TV guide billing. I love that reference right now.
Remember that? You open it up to see, oh, hey, I'm on Kojak tonight. And I was on Kojak as an arsonist being accused of burning a building, but I didn't do it. And something interesting happened on that set. So Telly Savalas is right there. I'm in his office. The desk is in front of him, and I'm on the other side of the desk, and he's going to interrogate me and talk to me. And I'm ready. I got my lines down. And he starts talking to me, but he's not looking at me. He's looking over here. And so I would move over to get, to do the eye thing. And as I do that, he goes to the other side. And I'm going, what's going on here? So I finally turn around and look.
What's behind me?
Teleprompter.
Oh. Shit.
I said, damn, I want this kind of power. One day I want this power that these guys have. Because, I was of the school of you learn your lines, you show up, you hit your mark, you do what you got to do, you listen, and boom. All those years that about 2.5 years, I did the extra work stuff. I did this and this. So I could tell you what a 9 light is, what a barn door is, what a cable, what everything that goes on the other side of the camera. So, because I wanted to know, because one day I'm going to camera left, camera right, all the angles, everything. So when I open my mouth, they know that, oh, this kid knows something, he's not green. And so, yeah, Ma.
Just sneak it in here.
Okay, you want to hear me talk?
I always hear you talk.
So I have a question for you. So what did your mom think when you landed Chips? And it's kind of full circle because she wanted you to be this police officer, right? And then here you are playing one on TV, but it's like the biggest show ever.
And I'm a deputy sheriff today in real life.
Are you? Oh,
yes. Okay. I work in the crimes against children in the state of Virginia.
Oh, no shit. Years. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So, no, well, we'll get there. So my mother, first my mother was, Papa, this is nice. First, I buy her a house in Tarzana, California, south of the boulevard, circular moon driveway, going one way, come out the other. The backyard is 1/2 acre. And I say, Ma, I can make that look like Puerto Rico. Whatever you want, Ma. I'll design it. And she goes, it's nice, mijo. Mijo means son. It's nice, my son. And I'm going, oh, shit, something's wrong. I know something's wrong here. I said, look, Ma, I got to go. I'll be back Saturday. I'll pick you up at noon. We'll go to lunch. I figure I'd take her to the Ivy, show her off, Bop, bop, bop. I go to pick her up a week later, and I already bought her a house. And I'm living now. Now I'm living in a condo on Studio City condo on Colfax. Because I went from Colfax in Burbank to Acoma, across from the Beverly Garland, that street.
Yeah.
For 1 minute. And then I moved to Studio City condos, and now I'm up on the hill on Eureka. Well, we won't tell people my street.
Yeah, we won't say the name, the E word.
So anyway, so my mother is just so she's sitting in this house. I go to pick her up Saturday, and she's sitting in the living room, and I could tell she was upset because I knew my mother, and like the back of my hand. And I said, Mom, ¿qué pasó? What happened? Neighbors say something to you? Who? One over here, over there, across the street? Who, Ma? Tell me. No, mijo. No, Papa. It's not like that. I said, then what's wrong, Ma? Why that look? Why this vibe? What's going on? She goes, I want to go back to New York. She wanted to go back to New York. Ain't that a trip?
That is a trip.
I said,
did she go? Did she go back or did she stay?
Well, whatever my mother wanted, I did.
She got.
Except became an actor. She wanted me to be a cop. So I moved her to 57th and 8th Avenue, that building, the Sherifield, where you drive from 57 to 56 in the middle of the street, and the doorman is in the middle of the block. That's the only street in New York City that has that. And that building was, I put her in there. She was the 10th tenant in that building. It's got a doorman, it's got security, it's got a pool, it's got Starbucks at the bottom, and you're on 57th and 8th Avenue. She's on the 27th floor. She sees Tavern on the Green and the southern part of Central Park. So she happy camper. And I took care of everything for 32 years. I wouldn't let her work. I took care of everything. I even paid for the toilet paper, everything. I took care of my mother really good, which was my dream, because she was my motivation to make the bucks. So I'm out here bouncing from episode to episode to episode to episode. Medical center, an arrogant tennis player. I was a junkie in Mannix. That I knew because I used to watch my pop shoot up when I was 2.5, 3 years old. And I saw somebody shoot up on a Lee Marvin, when Lee Marvin had that show. He had a black and white TV show. Lee Marvin was a detective. M Squad. Was it M Squad?
Oh.
I think it was M Squad. Anyway. And I saw that and I went, oh, that's, put two together. So now Chips comes around. Well, before that, but in the interim of all these little guest spots, playing the stereotypical badass Latino, the guy with the gun, the knife, the brick, the pimp, the badass, boom. I did a movie called Airport 75, where I play Julio, the flight attendant, with, of course, Chuck Heston. And then I did a movie, the same director, Jack Smite, was directing a movie called Midway, the original Midway. And he said, hey, Estrada, I really like working with you. I have another movie. It's a smaller part, less dialogue. I said, hey, I came here to work and make money. I got my mom to take care of. So what is it? He said, well, it's a couple of weeks in a movie. You'd be one of the 4 pilots, Eddie Albert Jr., Dennis Rucker, Philip Allen, and me are the 4 pilots in the original movie. But it was also with Charlton Heston.
Oh.
And what I love was, here I was, the kid coming in and all the old guys going out. Like Glenn Ford, me and Glenn Ford became good drinking buddies. Henry Fonda I met, Robert Mitchum, all the old school boys. It was great. It was really cool. I was at one variety thing, things that I remember that are now coming back as I'm getting in the autumn of my years.
Yeah.
I remember Sinatra looked at me across the table. He was at another table with Dino and Sammy, and I was at a table with Charles Bronson, Jill Ireland, Ricardo Montalban and his wife, Julio Iglesias with some gorgeous, just out of high school kid, and Burt Reynolds and Lonnie. And I look over to see Sinatra and go, wow, shit. And he looked over at me and he went like this. I about fell out. He gave me the nod. Oh, shit. Are you kidding? Then I became very good friends. I dated a beautiful lady, sweet lady named Beverly Sassoon for a couple of years. Wonderful lady. And she was friends with Sammy's wife. God, Coño, ¿cómo se llama? All these people, like, I'm 70. I just turned 75. So I'm at that age where you see the faces, but the names escape you. I got to load up. I got to load up some Prevagen. Anyway, so Sammy Davis's wife. Anyway, that in the interim, I did a movie called Trackdown with Kathy. Oh God, Jim Mitchum and Kathy Lee Crosby. And then I did a couple of independents. Then I did some real zero crap because I got blacklisted after Chips and I couldn't get a job in this town because I own 50% of the net profits of the show. And they wanted to, and I wasn't going to have it. Nobody's going to, if I'm looking. And so I took them on. I took David Beagleman on, and then they replaced me with Bruce Jenner for 7 episodes. And I'm wondering, did that have anything to him? Well, anyway.
I had no idea. I didn't know that. Okay.
I remember that.
I was the actor that took on David Beagleman, MGM.
Yeah, I remember that part. I don't remember Bruce Jenner.
Oh, I do. I do.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was on for 7 episodes. And then I found out my attorneys was Larry Cuppen and Harry Sloan. They were John Snyder's attorneys, and Tony and Gary Coleman's attorney and my attorney at that time. And they made a fortune, so much that they bought New World from Roger Corman after they finished with us. But the deal was that MGM had to deliver 6 years of print with Erik Estrada as Poncherello, because they made their deal at the end of the 4th season with Golden West Broadcasters, which was owned by Gene Autry, and then Turner, and now it's Time Warner, Columbia Warner. All right, that own Chips now. I had accumulated 50% of the net profits participation. And the deal was that my smoking gun was that they had to deliver 6 years with me. And this was going to be the start of the 5th year. So I said, well, attorneys, let's go in and see the head of the studio and tell them that I own 50% net profits participation. And let's get a quarterly payment schedule contract done. So we walk in to see David Beagleman. And he says, what are you doing here? Because it was on about 10:30. We came right from stage 3. I just walked off the set, grabbed the lawyers, and we went up to the tower. All right. I walk in, and he said, what are you doing here? You're not holding a production. They just called. They said, they're waiting for you. You should go back and do your thing. I said, I will. But here are my attorneys. I understand that you guys made a $75 million 10-year run, a first run syndication of Chips. Well, I own 50% of the net profits participation. Here's my attorneys. I want to draw up a contract. He says, you got to wait for the show to be in syndication. You can't just. And just before I did that, a couple of days before, I watched James Gardner on 60 Minutes talking about how it took him 11 years to get his net profits participation, because from Rockford Files, where he produced it and starred in it. So he saw where the money was going. He saw that we blew up that car, painted it yellow, blew it up again, then painted it green, blew it up. He saw where it was going. And they were telling him they're not making any money. If you go way back to Fess Parker, who was in Daniel Boone, maybe before your time.
Yeah.
Fess Parker played Daniel Boone. He had 5% of the show. He never got it. Mm. All of them that had percentages of net profit. I'm at the gym, Vince's gym, the Guru, down here at the bottom of my street. Vince's gym. He's no longer there. He passed. But I used to go to him. He used to say, there's only one Puerto Rican to a gym, and Erik Estrada is it, folks. He was, I loved him. He was a great guy. He really was. A little cuckoo, but great. So Robert Blake is bench pressing. And I go, hey, Robert, because I used to go there at 5:30 in the morning with all the guys. You know, after a weekend in Studio 54, I get back Sunday night. I hit the gym that week to sweat out all the bad poison that's in the air down there. You know,
all that good stuff. Yeah,
you have to, or else it'll stick to you, and you go You don't want to do it. So he's working out, and I go, all the stunt guys from Clint Eastwood movies, Carl Weathers, Stallone would pop in, Schwarzenegger would pop in every so often. And we're all there. I used to get in between the stunt guys, pick them up, put them down, pick them up, put them down, and get a good workout, and then go to Chips and drink aloe vera water for a week. So Blake is working out, and I go, hey, Blake, I just acquired another 10 points of net profits participation. I got 35 points now. And he says, you're an ass. He called me an ass H. I don't want to say asshole. So we won't say asshole. Okay.
Okay.
Bad word.
It's bad word. Bad.
There are kids listening. So I say, what do you mean? Why do you say that? He says, I own 33 and a third percent of Beretta. I sell it to you for 10 cents. I said, whoa, after hearing that, and then after seeing what's his face, Rockford Files, James Gardner, I said, I'm gonna take the fight, not the fight, but the thing to them. So I'm in there. Beagleman says, you got to be back in the you and you don't get to anything until syndication. I said, no, sir. No, sir, because you're selling off MGM. You sold the back lot. You're selling the library. We're going to be in syndication. I'm going to call here. Nobody's going to answer the phone. I said, so I want to make it a quarterly payment now because you guys made your deal. And he says, you know, Estrada, you think you're a big shot. You come to Hollywood, you bring your lawyers in here. You were nothing when you came to Hollywood. You were nothing but a spick box boy. My reaction was this. I got the biggest smile because I knew what he wanted me to do. He wanted me to hit him so he could own me. And that wasn't going to happen. My two lawyers, they were white, but this time they were out of space white. They didn't know what I was going to do. Yeah. So anyway, I stood up and looked at Mr. Beagleman. I said, Mr. Beagleman, you know, at the age of 5, I used to sell snow cones in the streets of Harlem with my grandfather for about 3-4 summers until the block of ice melted away or we shaved it away. And then I worked at Columbus Circle. I used to shine shoes every Saturday and Sunday mornings. I'd be shining shoes for a couple of years. Then I worked at Jack's Wash and Dry on 44th Street, 9th Avenue after school. I always had a job. I always had a job. That's what we did then. You grew up in the ghetto. What do? You either become a punk or you bring some change home to your mom, and you're living on welfare. Okay? So, but I never boxed groceries. And I walked out. They proceeded, since they controlled the media, like today is controlled. I won't say anymore.
Yeah.
They immediately splashed all over Variety, Hollywood Reporter, Erik Estrada, breach of contract, refuses to show up. $40 million lawsuit against him by MGM. That's when I knew I had them. And when I knew I had them even more is when they brought in Bruce Jenner. All I had to do was sit like this and wait it out because they weren't about to give back any of that $75 million because they can't deliver 2 seasons without Estrada. They weren't doing that. So, they scared the shit out of me deliberately. They would put shit that I was a bad boy. I was a pain in the ass. I was this and all that and this and all that, this and all that. And then the only thing that had me really uptight was I already moved my mother to 57th and 8th Avenue. I wasn't going to move back to the projects. Say, Ma, back it up. We're going back to the projects. Me or no. Yeah. So anyway, they came back after 7 weeks and settled with me. They settled with me and they bought my 50%. I sold it to them for a nice piece of change. But they already stained my name and stained me and everything. And they made sure that I could not work in this town. And for 10 years, what I did was I roamed the country and the world. I went to Italy, did a movie for a couple of weeks with Franco Nero, Max von Sydow, and Tony Musante. And I played El Greco, the bishop of the mafia. El Greco was his name. Then I went to Peru and did a movie for 3 months from the south of Peru to the Cusco, Machu Picchu. I had the best time. Oh my God. Then I went to Thailand, did another movie for 3 months because all these producers from all these countries, Chips was so big and popular and still is. It still is. Very popular all over the world. Thank God for that. That's a blessing that I got and I appreciate it. But So all these producers that want to do a little something in their country, they want to get somebody from America, throw them in there. Boom. So I went. Geraldine Chaplin. Her husband was, I forget his name, but he did the Superman movies. And he gave her 10 million, say, here, go away somewhere, make something, but get out of the house. So she made a movie. I was cast in it. She played a role in it. Tony Curtis played a role in it. Ron Moody from, I'm reviewing the situation. Da, 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 da. From Oliver Twist, the musical.
Yeah.
And Orson Welles, baby.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Orson Welles. Yeah. It was awesome. It was so awesome. And I lived at the St. James Club in London for 3 months. Come on. So I was out there. Then I came back to America and nothing. And then I get a movie in Mexico. So I go down there. By that time, I don't know how to read or speak Spanish properly. I spoke Spanglish. I spoke crap. Like the proper way to say shit in Spanish is mierda. I used to say mierda. See what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm down there doing a movie. I'm talking in English. The other people are talking in Spanish, and they have interpreters and everything. So we get it done. And it's a 3-week gig. And while I'm there, I get approached by the #1 Aaron Spelling of telenovelas, soap operas, Emilio La Rosa. Took me a week to be able to say that. La Rosa. And he says, I want him to do a soap opera where you're the protagonist, you're the lead, you're married, and you hitchhike and you fall in love with her. Now you're married with 2 women. I go, thank you very much, but I got to tell you, I don't know how to read or speak Spanish. He says, don't worry about it. We make it that you were born in Mexico, raised in San Diego, you came back and married your childhood friend. I said, oh, cool. I'm going to be speaking like 8 words in English and maybe 2 in Spanish. And in my case, I hope it's sí or no. Sí or no. 2.5 months go by. I get a script sent. And I can't read it. I can't read the script. I can't read it. I can't read it. I can't read it. It's all Spanish. So I'm totally embarrassed. This guy, in the Latin culture, you don't disgrace another person of stature, of not because they're rich or whatever, but because they've achieved something in their life. So this guy is like the Spelling of telenovelas. Each novella he ever made was #1 hit, And I tell my manager, Conrad, look, you got to get me out of this. I'm really embarrassed. I can't read it, but we can't say no to this guy because that would be total disrespect. And I can't do that. We can't do that. So I say, they want me down there for 3 months to shoot 100 episodes. Okay. And I can't even memorize this stuff, let alone read it. So they have a method down there. They put a little earpiece in here and a little microphone on the other side. And the things are down here. And they feed you the lines. You hear them and you repeat. It took me 2 weeks to learn it. It's a technique. I got it. I can do it. But I said, they want me down there for 3 months. I tell you what I want you to do. I want you to chase them away. Chase them away. Ask for $500,000, not pesos, And he says, you sure you want me to do that? I says, yeah, we can't say no. We got to chase them away. So I figured that's the way to get out of it because I'm totally embarrassed. I can't read the thing anyway. So, hey, no skin off my nose, right? They say yes.
Yeah. They meet your offer, call your bluff. Yeah.
So now I really freak out. I said, oh my God, no, we got to get me out of this. Conrad, you don't understand. This shit is hard. Get me out of it. I can't pronounce words. I can't even speak proper Spanish. I speak Spanglish because I spent my youth in the street working. shining shoes, always working, and conversing with Spanish. No, I had to deal in English. So I say, well, they want me to live there for 3 months. I don't want to live in a hotel. So you tell them that I want to look for a place, a house or an apartment building. And I want a driver with a car of the year to take me every morning back and forth, 3 months to the studio. And I want a chef in the house. I want a bodyguard, and I want a cell phone, which was $1 a minute back then, $1 a minute. And I was always on that, bitching to my wife, man, these motherfuckers, they're always late. They use Vicks to cry. I mean, and she, she just sit back and, yes, honey, but you do well. You get something to eat and knock it out tomorrow. Okay, dear. I needed somebody, to bitch and whine with. So they say yes to that. Now I'm stuck. I'm stuck. And I want to decorate it to my liking. So they say yes. Now I'm really stuck. I'm over a barrel. I go to Berlitz in Northridge, Language Academy. And I grab a beautiful teacher. And we banged it out for like six. Well, we banged it out. And I learned Spanish. And I learned my Spanish suitable. But also I was going to have help down there because they feed you the line. In my case, it's better for me. And we got a guy to work with me. And then I made them give me 2 secretaries every night to go to my apartment. Oh, so wait. So I look at a bunch of houses and I go, wow, this is pretty. That's pretty. Something from the 70s, the 50s, 60s in a beautiful, expensive neighborhoods. But then I say, you know what? Some Saturday morning, you're going to have somebody at my gate with their head true to the gate going, hey, Pancho, photo, Pancho. Busting my chops. I said, that ain't going to happen. So I took a beautiful building in Las Palmas, which is a very high-end Jewish Mexican community. It's like Century Plaza, one of those buildings over there. So I took that building, the 27th floor. Was it? Yeah, the same as my mom. You open up, the elevator opens up, and it's your whole floor.
Wow.
It's that kind of thing. They had a heliport. They had a supermarket private. You have to sign in to come in the building and all that, people, visitors. And then I decorated it to my liking. I said, in the foyer here, I want a black onyx piano. Oh, do you play? No, I don't play, but I like the look. So put one here. I made them build me a tiki hut in the living room. Why not? And then the rest. And then I went down there. 3 months. I figured 3 months. Hey, get my 5K. Get out. No. At 90th episode, they added another 160 episodes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I renegotiate. And then I said, I can't take it down here. I got to fly home every weekend. So every Friday I would fly in the 507 Delta flight into Los Angeles. Nana would pick me up. When it was my weekend with my boys, she'd bring them. We go to Toys R Us. Then I come, I smoke a cigar in my backyard on one of my decks because I built like tiers for places to go. And I have a cigar, take it off me. She'd make me a cappuccino and to take the week off me. And then I go back Sunday night, red eye to go back. After the 160, they added another 100. We did 457 episodes of the longest running, highest rated telenovela soap opera in Latin history. Still, 30 years later, it's still #1 in.
Wow.
I did not know this about you. I did not know that about your career.
There's a lot of things. I don't do publicity. I have never done a podcast. I don't like publicity. I don't like interviews. I don't do them. I did yours because Calvin twisted my nuts. No, no, because Calvin adores you. You're a treasure to him, and I treasure Calvin. So he asked
Yeah,
me,
he's a
but
good
I
egg.
told him, don't ever ask me again because I don't do.
He actually told me that. He did say that you said that, so I am super appreciative. Yes.
Yeah. So, and I understand what you've gone through and going through, and I've gone through a few things I don't want to say publicly because, and then people go, ooh, Erik Estrada.
Yeah.
Nah, that's why I don't do interviews. I just don't do them. Nobody knows. Half the country doesn't know that I'm a real cop, a real sworn-in cop.
Yeah.
I took a
Well,
taser shot at the police academy. Okay, they wanted to
okay.
mace me. They wanted to mace me or tase me. I said, no, you're not going to ruin my hair with that shit. I'll take the shot. Shoot me. But
Oh, no kidding.
yeah, there's a lot
Well,
of things.
child predators beware.
I don't do publicity. I don't care for it. Yesterday, and I don't hang out. I don't do that. I didn't get into this business for that part of it. I got into it to make money so I can get my
Yeah.
mother out of the jungle and put her in paradise. And I was able to do that. Can you imagine? And I know this is a dream that every child, boy and girl, has for their parents. They
Yeah.
want to do something for their parents. I was able to live that dream and make it happen. So
God bless you. Yeah, good
yeah,
for
he
you.
did. He
Yeah.
did. And he continues to bless me. He continues to bless me. I mean, I'm doing 2 series right now as we speak. I don't do PR on it. I won't do PR on it. One is called The Servant. We just shot the first episode in San Antonio. And another one, it's streaming now, 2 seasons of something called Divine Renovation. That one I do because it's good for my soul. I love it.
Okay.
And
I'm
then
gonna
there's
check this out.
and yesterday I was invited to the Chinese theater for the Hondo premiere because I'm in the 3rd episode with Goggins in his new show, big Amazon thing that I did a year ago for them, and they told I had to sign a piece of paper say I wouldn't talk about it. Well, I wouldn't talk about it anyway.
Well,
I could have gone to the premiere and had all that red carpet bullshit. I'm done. As a matter of fact, the Hollywood Christmas Parade, I did it for 14 years straight. I just quit.
yeah.
No more. No more.
Well,
I'm
it is
done.
very 2 different aspects of the industry. I will give you that because it's a 2 different beasts. So they are entirely different. The acting from the PR, and it's a different game. I don't love it either.
Yeah.
But
So
we
anyway,
thank you so much for sharing with us. I mean, like, I
I
feel
got one more
Dave,
thing.
we're blessed.
Absolutely.
One more thing.
Yeah.
So my soap opera was knocking the crap out of anything that was on 7 o'clock on ABC, CBS, and NBC. Just knocking it out. You couldn't get your day worker to wash the kids or the dishes. And a lot of the guys used to complain to me, say, man, I had to buy another VHS because Juanita won't do the dishes. During that time, the kids, it was religion. This thing was religion. And then, of course,
Yeah.
Rupert Murdoch bought it and he aired it all over the world in all his star channels around the globe, in Europe and all that. So it was knocking so much out that the American people just said, you know what? We got to get Estrada. We got to get Estrada to do a guest spot. So the nanny called. I did a nanny. I did a movie with Bill Cosby, TV movie. I did Martin, 3 of them. I did this show and that show and this show and that show and that show. But by that time, I didn't care anymore. I really didn't care anymore because when you become an actor, you become an actor for a reason. Okay, I was attracted to, I want the bread, but my initial thing that happened to me was what? And then the bread idea came in. I said, well, how do I make money with this thing? I need to. Was when I would perform and I did the high school play, got the drama award and all that. But when I would perform and people would come backstage and say, "Hey, man, I love what you did in that scene. Oh, that scene was, that was so good. And that other thing was so great." They would do that. And I would say, "Wow, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. You believed me." Okay with what they felt, but none of them felt what I felt while I was doing it. And that's what I wanted more of. Something that nobody could take away from me, you know?
Yeah.
Because when you grow up the way I grew up, it's like this, or your shit that would get taken. So that's what got me hooked. That was the hook. And then, how do I make money? How do I, you know? So I went after it.
Well, you
But,
did it.
but you know,
You fucking did it.
and I've got 2 shows going out there already, but I don't care. You could stream my show. It's called Divine Renovation. The first season is 6 episodes. We shot it in Wilmington, North Carolina. 60 minutes. The second season is 30 minutes. And now we're working on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, as we go. If it happens, it happens. At this point, I'm at that age. It's like golf. I used to. Now I play whack fuck. Whack.
Happy Gilmore golf. Whack-a-mole. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
why not?
listen, life is good. Life is good. I cherish every day now because I just had some things go down. I'm not going to mention because then the public will go, "Oh my God." But life is good. Just, in other words, I'm telling you that life is good. And you're such a beautiful looking woman. I mean, you're hot. So,
Thank you.
you're very attractive. So just live your life, enjoy each day, take it as it comes. Each day is a gift now. At
It
75,
is.
I can say that,
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
learned that. I learned that quickly here. So, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should have shaved for you next time.
You did good.
Okay.
You did
Yeah,
good.
you
That
look
was
good.
awesome.
A little
Thank you
scruff.
so much.
Hey,
Wow.
I'm sorry I rattled on like that. But
No,
if
we
Not at
love
all.
it.
people don't know this about me, and there are other things that I could pull up, but that's okay. We're good.
No.
I hope you got what you wanted and that made you happy, makes you happy, and
Yeah.
fulfills whatever you want. Because now I'm going to jump Calvin and say, "Get me a gig and shut up.
Get to work. Yes.
Get out there."
Yes. Well, hopefully I'll see you on one of those soon.
Yeah, baby.
I'll be
Yeah, for
back at
sure.
it. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Hey,
Okay.
dude.
Eric,
What do
I really
tell me about you, Dave. I don't know.
there's not a lot to know. The audience already knows about me, but I'm a longtime radio sportscaster, and
Oh, okay.
and doing this show with Nicole has been a blast. Who's become a fantastic friend. But
I'm
I
sure
got to
that.
tell you 2 things I got to mention before you go, Eric, real quick. One is I have a very close friend of mine. His name is Jim Betancourt. CHP is going to retire in a few years, and I know you were the inspiration for him becoming a CHP officer, and has done a fantastic job for years and takes a lot of pride in it. And I know he'll be excited to know that we had a chance to speak to you today. And
Cool.
also, at the same time, I was thinking as being part of my childhood, because I don't know if you realize how many kids around the world drove down the street exactly right next to each other on their bikes because of
Yeah.
chips.
Yeah. Yeah. When I was doing the show, I was too busy living in the motorhome. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
having a great time. I didn't think of that. But me and Larry get together and we go around the country doing this and that. This weekend, I'm going to be in Spokane. I'm doing a car show. I do a lot of car shows. They're great because they hit you with a fee and that's it, and then whatever you pawn is yours. But it's great. And the people you meet, family people, the home people, the house people, the working class. It's wonderful. I love it. I love being surrounded by that. But me and Larry have talked about it. we look at each other and we go, Jesus Christ, you and I were so busy fighting each other and yelling about this, yelling about that. My home is longer and bigger than yours. My jacuzzi works better than yours, whatever. I used to tease the shit out of him. I used to say after a shot, we're out in the sun. I said, okay, hey, tell Mo, my driver, who used to drive my motorhome, tell him to turn the jacuzzi on, 85 degrees, okay? I'm coming. I'll be there in 10 minutes after this scene. And Larry would stand and go, he screamed, favorite nations, favorite nations. I never had a jacuzzi. I was just shit.
Yeah.
Anyway,
fantastic.
but we realized, we get, oh, thanks, Mom. Yeah, baby. Thank you. I just got fresh squeezed pineapple juice.
Nice.
So my skin will glow.
That's right.
Anyway, we realize I get a lot of officers, first responders. I get a lot of people that come up and say, hey, I couldn't make it as a police officer, but I became this and that because of your show, because of you guys. I'm a cop today because of you guys. You guys inspire me. But the wonderful thing about Chips, not only, I redesigned the uniform totally. I took all the air out of it. And I took it out of a can every morning and just went, shh. I sprayed it on. It was so tight. I did. Yep. I did. Had the pockets cut out.
We appreciated it.
Yeah, I did a lot. And you make your muscles look bigger by tightening the shirt.
That's right.
Then your muscles look
bigger.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, the wonderful thing, and I'll end with this, about the show was that when people see us, they go, I had your poster on my locker, on my ceiling, on my knee. But hey, my mother, here. And then they stop and they get emotional. They get a warm, fuzzy feeling because that was an 8 o'clock family hour show that they sat with their mom, their grandma, their uncle, their niece, their first boyfriend, first girlfriend, their brothers and sisters, and watched the show. So they remember when they see us, and then they remember them who have passed on, maybe.
Yeah.
They really get emotional. So that was the blessing of the show. That was the good thing of the show. I'd say that was the major hook.
Yeah. When families all sat around one TV and spent time together.
You can park back then. We never drew our guns. Back then, you could park the kid in front of the TV and go to the toilet. Don't worry about what he's watching or hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good days. Good days. Well, thank you.
Okay, I'll go.
Thank you, Papa. Thank you.
I hope you got enough to edit.
No, we're good.
We got it.
We're good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much,
Thanks
Erik.
for sharing with us.
Yeah. Maybe we do it again.
Perfect.
Okay, good deal.
Absolutely. That was great.
You guys are easy to talk to. And I'm sorry I didn't know about you because who had time to get into sports when I was a kid?
Yeah.
Don't worry about me. This is all Nicole. Don't worry about me at all. We're all good. We're all good. Erik, thank you so much. Wish you all the best.
Thank you. God bless you both.
Bye.
Bye.
See you later. Bye.
Wow, that was cool. I tell you what, the long interviews I enjoy. As I'm always, you and I have spoken for a long time about how everybody has a story and how they got there. I love the fact, Nicole, that his inspiration was his mom. No matter what, that was his goal that kept him going. And obviously, he was extremely hard worker, but that his mom is the one that inspired him to work so hard to make her life better. And I bet, his last day on earth, he would say, what was your number one accomplishment? He'd say, I took care of my mom.
Took care of his mom.
Important, and he realized his dream.
Sometimes when certain people have longevity and certain, people don't and everything, and then you see that side of them and you see why he had, because he's a good soul, a good person. That,
exactly.
This is why good things happen. And, he's lived this wonderful life. I mean, listen, he was my neighbor and he's not kidding about the Rolls Royce. I would see him in maybe it was or white convertible one, cruising around Studio City all the time, and it was always like, there he goes. And it was, we'd pass each other on the street, and it was just like, just such an icon, just so cool, such a cool dude, such family man, obviously still and married and living in that same beautiful house that he has. It's in a beautiful location. And yeah, it's so fun to hear all the backstory and the fight and because so many people
Exactly
think
right.
this is all handed to you, right? And then you
Yes,
hear like what a hustle, really working
exactly
for it
right.
and really going for it. And it's it's wonderful. It's so cool.
No, that I enjoy that a lot. I tell you
Yeah.
what we'll do. We're going to get to the questions, of course, that people ask enough to write in. Again, if you want to get to Nicole's mailbag, we'll get those to you. This was a longer show, so I want to give time to put time into your answers as far as the questions go. But we're getting people that are really interested in reaching out to you, and I love the fact that they want to pick your brain. But again, perfectlytwistedpod.com. Look at Nicole's daily mailbag, and we'll get to those. But Nicole, this was a lot of fun today. I'm
Yeah.
glad you felt well enough to be here, and I agree, you look great. So I'm
Thanks.
glad he pointed that out as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And thanks, guys. Give us a like if you enjoyed the show. And we just thank you. Thank you for tuning in and thank you for letting us do what we love and getting to have these fun stories with these fun guests and just supporting us and doing what we love. So thanks, guys. And we will see you next week.